Hello, welcome to the first ever episode of the Final Round podcast. My name is Nathan. You might know me as Lucksey, and my guest for the very first one is none other than the chairman of Tekken, an absolute OG of the North Tekken scene, a true like original. It is Shen Gaming. So thank you very much, Shen, for coming on. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, and thanks for having me, Nathan.
No, it's not too bad. So what's going on? We've just finished. Me and you was both at a tournament this weekend. We was at Drowning Pools in Liverpool. You did quite well actually. You made it into top 8.
I did, yeah. I came 7th. I had a really tough pool though. I had to go against NBA Icarus, had to fight against EMG Bolt. I also had to go against NBA Volprax as well. So they were really good players. I lost to Icarus, but I beat Bolt and Volprax to manage to get into the loser side of top 8. So I was pretty proud of that. And then I had to go against Eddie, I think, and then Eddie was the one that eliminated me. But games were a lot closer than I thought. I actually thought Eddie was going to steamroll me, but what I noticed is that I need to play really compact against a player like Eddie. If I make any big decisions, then I have to make sure that they're very carefully calculated. I made a couple of wrong big decisions, and he just capitalized and punished me for it hard. So I just got to learn not to take too many risks against players of that caliber.
Well, the thing about you that I've noticed is you definitely 100% up your game when you're playing against a player that is, can be perceived to be better than you. I remember we was at a RIZE tournament, and it was at the Invitational, it was a little Invitational RIZE tournament. Iron King, it was the finals.
Yeah.
And you beat Chicken Maru.
I know, yeah, that was quite an achievement.
No, it's definitely an achievement. He did well at the tournament this weekend in Greece as well. But I mean, you do step up your game when it comes to that kind of thing. I mean, Chicken Maru is no easy feat whatsoever.
Yeah, he did say to me after the game that he thrives on people pressing buttons. He thrives on people playing aggressively. But because I was playing a lot more passive against him and keeping it compact, he had a lot of trouble like whip punishing and punishing me in general because I just kept throwing out, like safe mids. And when I do savage stance down forward 2, he just timed it so perfectly. He just goes behind me and then able to do like, I think it's 1-2-1 and then into down forward 2. So into a full launch from the back of me. And he knew which way to sidestep. So I had to really be a bit more methodical in how I approach it against Chikimaru. And yeah, I quite impressed myself when I whip punished him a couple of times. The down forward 2-1 with the with the twin pistons with Miguel. And I always complained about Miguel's range as well, but to be able to do that against Chikamaru, that was a pretty proud moment. To be honest with you,
I would be literally would not stop talking about that for the next 2 months. So the fact, I mean, yeah, you've every right to be proud. You're still playing Miguel, even though he got another. Well, did he get a nerf in season 3? Or
I think the only biggest nerf that he has, I think, is the range on his standing 4. For some reason, they decided to nerf his legs as well. So I literally nicknamed him Miguel Gone Edition. He's literally like a little dinosaur now. Everyone used to call him T-Rex Miguel because he's got the short arms, but now he's literally gone.
He's not even got the legs anymore.
He hasn't got the legs anymore. So, which means that the double standing 4 combo does not work anymore. So you have to, once you do standing 4, you have to go straight into a tailspin in order for it to work. And I noticed that Seppi Black has been trying to do that combo.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, this weekend just gone and tried it.
Yeah, in the Greece tournament, he tried that. Clash of the Olympians?
Olympians, yeah, he tried it, and specifically, I noticed it. It was in his match against Rukang where he lost 6-0. Yeah. But he got that opportunity, that standing 4 combo that you did, and he went for the second one, and it just didn't hit whatsoever, like you said. Yeah. So, I mean, would you consider that an unnecessary nerf?
I definitely think it's an unnecessary nerf. Yeah, I mean they already nerfed his range on the block range on Savage Down Forward 2. You know, like basically, I agree. It is a bit stupid that the pushback on that move is a bit stupid, which makes it very very abusable because some characters can't punish it. But you know, in a way, I'm kind of glad that they balanced that out. But I didn't quite agree with them removing the range on standing 4 because that makes him a lot harder to throw out long range moves now because a lot of his long range moves are quite slow. And a lot of his like mids are quite crushable as well because of his height. So
Yeah,
it makes it really difficult, to get anything going with Miguel now. Now that I lost my standing 4, you can still play a long range game with it, but it's just not as good. But the only thing that I think is really good is now back 4 is basically Spartan kick is now a wall bounce move, which is
yeah, yeah.
brilliant. I think that is like a great buff.
I
And
mean,
then
that was a move that you used. I don't know if it was a Miguel's thing, but you specifically, I remember playing, and you used that move against when your opponent's got the back against the wall. You
yeah,
use that move quite a lot. So now with it having a wall bounce as well,
yeah, exactly.
is
Um,
that a Miguel player thing or is that a Shen thing?
I say
That
it's
move.
a Miguel player thing. Like I think now that it's become such a good move, you basically wait for your opponent to throw out a mid or a high, and then you just throw the Spartan kick out back 4, and then it just literally wall bounce. You get a full combo from it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
And then not only that, I think Savage Stance 2 is now safe. It used to be, I think it was something like -12 or something like that. And now it's safe. It's -9, which means it tracks on his weak side. So people who try to sidestep Miguel, I can use that move to basically stop them from sidestepping me on my weak side. And I clipped Bolt with that a few times because he knew exactly which side to sidestep Miguel. But I kept clipping him with it, and then I thought, right, I kind of stopped him from sidestepping now. Now I can start applying my real Savage Stance pressure game. So I think that's how I kind of like perceive Miguel now. Needs to be played a bit more differently, but in a good way. And I'm trying to learn to adapt with him a bit better. And I think I am adapting, and I think the result kind of paid off as
I,
well over the
I mean
tournament.
that thing that what you've just said is it kind of seems to be the theme of season 3. Like it's not necessarily a nerf, but you do need to play characters differently. I mean,
Yeah.
the perfect example of it is your second character, Katarina. Initially,
Mm.
I remember you particularly wasn't happy about the changes at the beginning of the season when you saw them. I remember scrolling down Twitter and all it was Shen just, oh no, she's dead, she's dead, she's not gonna. But
Yeah.
it turns out after 11 that she's not too bad. So I mean, what do you think of Katarina in season 3?
I do agree with some of the nerfs. I do agree her war damage, that stomp war damage is quite ridiculous. I don't mind the nerf on the range on the hop kick. Um, However, I think the biggest nerf for me is the down forward 1 being -3 on block.
Yeah,
It basically I lose my turn completely. It just means that I can't do a magic 4 or whether I do another down forward 1, to apply my pressure game. So basically, the long range game is gone. Like now that that long range kick that she does, that low, I think it's
yeah.
down forward 3+4. That's now -2 on hit,
All
um,
right.
which basically means that I don't get much of a follow up. I'm giving you your turn back, even though I
Yeah,
hit you. Um, and the hop kick being nerfed now. So playing her long range has become a lot more difficult. But then again, now even if you go into close range, her down forward 1 being -3, and you're giving your turn away. It's just like I don't understand how she's meant to be played now. Now
mm,
that she can't be played long range. Now she can't be played short range either. I don't feel comfortable with this character anymore. I don't understand how to play her, and that's the thing. Which is why I didn't use her very very much in this tournament. I didn't feel like I could play like how I normally play with Katarina, just completely changed. But I think I need to do a bit more research on how she should be played. But I haven't had the opportunity to do that with her at the moment. I didn't feel comfortable with her because there's too many changes that I need to adapt to. Which is why I stuck with Miguel because I felt the changes to Miguel were quite minimal compared to Katarina. And at least I was able to still apply a game plan with Miguel, but with Katarina, I couldn't. I couldn't play the long range game, couldn't play the short range game. I just didn't know what to do with her, and yeah, which is why I don't think she's very good at the moment. But this is just my opinion, you know. I don't want people saying to me, "Oh, she's still really good. You're just shit." You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I don't think she's suitable in the way that I want to play Tekken.
She doesn't suit your playstyle particularly. She
Yeah,
might suit other
not
Katarina's
anymore.
playstyles, but not your
Yeah, not
specific
my
playstyle.
playstyle. Yeah, exactly. So,
how would you describe your playstyle then? What do you like to do?
I say I love backdashing a lot.
You do.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
I,
Miguel. Jeez.
I
Jeez.
do love whip punishing, and I do like poke pressure as well. A lot of the damage that I take from my opponents is either good reads or basically poke pressure.
Yeah.
And I love doing frame traps as well. So, like, you know, basically, I thrive on frame trapping players and basically keeping them guessing every time. And I'm more of a momentum type player. And I felt Katarina in season 2 gave me that momentum. Like, I love making them guess while they're at the wall. With Katarina's wall game, and you know the damage that she was able to apply, and also trying to, you know, make players guess: am I going to throw a hop kick out, or am I going to do down forward 3+4? You know, the long range low.
Yeah.
Because like, I was able to apply that long range game, you know, by watching my opponent twitching in some way. If they suddenly move, then I'll throw out a hop kick. And then when I'm in short range, I'm able to apply down forward 1 a lot, because it being -1, it's really good. And not only that, the Katarina's down forward 1, because it's so low profile, it really helps with the matchups that Miguel struggle with. For example, like Eddie, Lei, Safina, Ling. Basically, all these characters, I feel they can crush Miguel really, really easily because of their stances. And Miguel's down forward 1, it's almost like a high, to be honest with you, because it's not very low profile. And every time I do a down forward 1 against these characters, I get crushed every single time. But with Katarina's down forward 1, it floats these characters. It floats any character that tries to attempt to get into a stance.
Yeah.
And then I get a full combo from it, which is why I use Katarina and Miguel. I feel those two characters really complement each other, because they're both damaging characters. Miguel is better with the short range and the Oki. Katarina is better in the long range and the wall game, which is why it gives me that variety, it gives me a different play style. And depending on who my opponent is, I can choose a character that is suitable for my opponent. But now I can't really do that now. I don't feel Katarina is suitable for any opponent of mine now. So I literally have to stick with Miguel for the meantime.
I mean, sorry to interrupt. Just before we move on, another one of your characters actually got quite a significant buff, I'd say personally, being Lars. I noticed that you didn't, well, as far as I'm aware, you didn't use Lars at Drowning Pools this weekend, did you?
I did use him for 1 game against Icarus, but I'm not comfortable with him yet. I'm not at that. Even though he's got all these amazing buffs and stuff like that, I personally, I'm not a good Lars player, and that's the way I see it. You know, Lars may have all these buffs, but it's also about the player controlling the character, and I'm not in that mindset of being a Lars player yet, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, have you been labbing him much at all in season 3?
I've been trying him out. But it's the character's place. The character's play style isn't quite suitable for me. I feel like I have to take a lot of risk with Lars, but especially all his lows being really, really unsafe. I can't really apply a low game. I don't feel he's got a very strong counter hit game, except for his new buff, but you have to be in full crouch to use it. So
yeah, that new buff is a big. You're talking about is down forward 2?
Oh, yeah, it's full crouch down forward 2, but you have to be in full crouch. Yeah, you have to be in full crouch in order to use it. I do feel Lars is a very strong character, but I'm just not strong enough to use him just yet.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not the character's fault. It's the player's fault that I can't use him to his full potential yet, and I need to really lab him a little bit more. I need a bit more tournament experience with Lars, At the moment, I'm not at that level, so which is why I'm just sticking with Miguel because he's been my boy since Tekken 6, Tekken Tag 2,
Yeah.
and now he's still my boy in this game right now.
I mean, is Lars someone that you're looking at playing? Are you actively wanting to play him, or are you just focusing purely on Miguel?
I will try Lars. I will give him a go. I just need to spend more time with him in the lab.
Yeah,
But at the moment, I want to try and make sure that I've got everything that I need to know with Miguel this
yeah,
season. And then I can put Miguel to one side because I know everything about him. I can now move on to another character and try another character out.
mm,
So I do feel Lars is the next character because he can be played more defensively, more patiently. Because you have to be more patient with Lars. I think he's more he doesn't have like like a panic hop kick like Cat and Miguel. What I
yeah,
mean, he has an orbital, but that can be floated, and his
yeah.
up forward three is really really unsafe as well. So I have to play very very differently with Lars. So I have to change my mindset in order to play him.
Yeah,
So
with Lars, it's like you need to commit to a read. Like if you can't just throw out a hop kick because I mean, like you said, up forward three, you're going to get launched and punished and taken to the wall, and that's like 50% health. So you need to commit. If you're going to do an up forward three, you need to commit to that up forward three and know that it's going to hit.
yep, I agree. I
Uh,
agree.
I mean, yeah, it's just one of them. Um,
Yep.
anyway, Shen, you have been around the scene for so long. You are, I think, considered a dinosaur at this point. Uh,
Thank you.
I mean, how and when did you get into is Tekken only that you played all like from
Uh,
throughout your career? Is it or
I started off in the FGC as a Street Fighter 4 player, believe it or not.
really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is news. I actually didn't know that about you.
Well, I wasn't very good, I'll be honest with you. I mean,
Who did you play?
I was just a standard Ken player, to be
Ken.
honest. Yeah, I was all right. I wasn't amazing at all. Uh, I didn't feel Street Fighter at the time. It wasn't really a game that I could fully express myself, I suppose.
Yeah,
Because of the limited move sets and stuff like that. But I do appreciate the whole footsie game, the spacing and stuff like that. And
oh,
it was such a big game at the time.
Street Fighter 4 was an absolute gem of a game. I've never played a Street Fight. Like I've never played Street Fighter. I've never played a 2D
Yeah.
game, but I've
Mhm.
got such an appreciation for Street Fighter 4. I
Yeah,
think that
definitely.
game was such a good game.
Yeah. I mean, like, I definitely give out credits to people who played that game on a superior level. It's fun to watch, but I personally wasn't any good at that game. I wasn't very very good. I was only a one trick pony with Ken. I only had like a few combos, a few fancy combos, and I do like a lot of Tatsu mix ups and stuff like that.
But you could handle yourself though. You could handle yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And then after that, Tekken 6 came out. I think that came out around 2009, I think.
yeah, I was thinking 2008, 2007, but I think you might be right. 2009.
Yeah, yeah. Then Tekken 6 came out in 2009. And then when I played Tekken 6, I felt really at home with it because I used to play Tekken 5 all the time at home, but I never really had anyone to play against because we didn't have online back then. But we only had the arcade machine, which is in the Trafford Centre, the Namco station at the time. And that was my only like competitive um, experience, I suppose, was playing random people on the arcade machine. But
Yeah,
a lot of the players weren't really good, and I didn't really know a scene back then. But when I went into a place called Gamerbase, this is where they did Street Fighter 4, and then they also ran like Tekken 6 tournaments as well. They did like what do you call it, like weeklies and stuff like that. And that's when I really got into Tekken. And because like there was so many moves to learn, I thought, well, there's so many options, there's so many different ways to play a character. Then that's when I thought, you know what, I really want to get into Tekken, and I got into Tekken at an all right level. I wasn't amazing at the time, but then I thought I wanted to travel out, and if I want to get really good competition, then I need to travel out to London in order to really up my
yeah,
game.
yeah.
And this is when I traveled out to London in 2010, 2011. I went to these events called Tekken Force at the time. They're actually like official Bandai Namco sponsored events. So I went there a couple of times and I got obliterated by every single player. Like I
Wait,
never made it out of groups. I lost like to every player in my group. You know what I mean? And that was
name
like
some names. Like who are these? Because who are these OG kind of London Tekken players that you was playing?
I played against Abominable Stu, believe it or
Ah,
not.
Stu. Yeah, I know Stu.
Yeah, he was around. And then I remember I won the first game, and then he literally obliterated me the second game.
Was he still playing King back then? Was he?
He was playing Marduk at the time.
Ah, right.
Yeah. And then I played against players like Shadow Force. He absolutely annihilated me with his Lee. I was a Lars player then, and I was also a Miguel player as well. So they were my two characters that I used.
Was they not? They was the two characters that joined in Tekken 6 as well, wasn't there?
Yeah. So I used Tekken 6 characters basically.
Right.
And who else did I lose to? I remember playing Ru Kang, I met Ru Kang for the first time. He absolutely annihilated me with his kangaroo with Roger. And I remember playing Kishan as well, EX Soldier. He annihilated me with his harangue. And then this is where I really felt, wow, I am nowhere near
Oh yeah.
I'm nowhere near any of these guys' level. I'm not considered good at all. Do you know what I mean? I'm not even considered, okay.
It made you realise that there's levels to this kind of thing.
Exactly. And it made me come back to Manchester thinking, well, there isn't much of a Tekken scene going on anymore because Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom has taken over and there were no Tekken sessions whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I needed to do something about that. And this is where I really wanted to push Tekken. And the gamer base closed, unfortunately, which is a really, really big loss for all of us because that was a place where everyone went to play games. But now that we lost that, there's nowhere to play games at all. And this is where I took it upon myself to, with Ying as well. Ying was my housemate at the time. He's called Yinger. I don't think he's part of Fighting Games anymore. But myself and Yinger, we decided to run NBA independently. And this is where we decided to really push hard for Tekken. Every fighting game scene was pushing hard for Street Fighter 4, but we wanted to take a different angle. We wanted to push Tekken because no other northern scene was doing that. And we did, and we ran our first event. I think it was called Warriors Return. And this is where Lionel, shout out to Lionel, Ozzy the Lion, he brought himself and Asim to our very first event. And it was it ran really smoothly. It went really well. And then Bandai Namco noticed what we were doing with Tekken and they sponsored us for our second event. So we became the first northern scene to be sponsored by Bandai Namco.
Wow.
And then Warriors Return 2, this is where we got I don't know, two big boxes of prizes. Do you know what I mean? They gave us games, hoodies, joysticks to give away. They literally gave us a massive load of goodies. And this is where Warriors Return 2 became such a big Tekken event. And then we ran another big event after that, Warriors Return 3. This is when we got sponsored by Capcom as well. So they gave us prizes. And then also Bandai Namco sponsored the event as well. And we had over, I think, about 60 players for Tekken. And then I think just over 70 players for Street Fighter. And it was probably the most rammed tournament I've ever ran in my life. And I did not eat. I did not I literally ran the full Tekken bracket completely on my own.
Yeah.
We didn't have enough staff or anything. And this is where we thought, right, let's not do any more majors because we were literally exhausted from it. We didn't have enough people to run the event. But other than that, it was a successful event. It was a very good event. And, we actually brought the Tekken scene together. And everybody used to come around my house every weekend, every Saturday. People like Sully, Liam, Scott, all them guys, and all the OG Tekken players like Zetroid even came, Bally, Shifty, all these guys, they used to come to my house every Saturday without fail. And, we just practiced hard and hard on Tekken Tag 2. And we became the biggest scene, one of the biggest Tekken scenes outside of London.
It's important to remember, though, that this time Tekken wasn't what it is now. was it Tekken was kind of considered a toilet break game. If you're watching
Yeah,
Evo or something, it's like, oh,
yeah,
Tekken's on, I'll go and make a cup of tea or something. It wasn't
yeah,
as hype as it is now. So the
yeah.
fact that you guys persisted, you and Yin, and you persisted throughout that what could be considered the dark ages kind of
Hmm.
thing of Tekken, where it just wasn't popular whatsoever. Especially
Yeah.
considering now the popularity of it now. I mean, you persisted through that kind of stuff. I mean, what from your perspective, like what has the change been like since starting out, Tekken 6, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, to what it is now and the level of it is now? What can you see that has changed and stuff?
I can say it's become such a big change that I personally don't need to run Tekken anymore. It used to be like NBA had to run Tekken events in order for it to, have Tekken events in the Northwest. But now everywhere's doing Tekken, which is great, which means it gives me myself as a player more options to attend. You know, more and more events, more and more tournament organizers are now running Tekken. It's amazing. Like the level of growth of Tekken is phenomenal. For me as a dedicated Tekken fan, it's just so good to see like the amount of players that have joined
Oh, it's
Tekken.
amazing.
It's good, and players like yourself as well. Joining into the scene, and like Bradford is another one that I have to mention. Players like RIZE Wiki, EMG, Risky Luck, Goki Akuma. These guys never played a Tekken in their lives until Tekken 7, and then look at
Yeah.
where they are now.
Well,
They're like,
the skill that they have as well is the skill that they brought to the game. It's crazy how much they've improved in how long has it been now since Tekken 7 came out? About, is it 2.5 years, something like that?
yeah, 2.5 years, and you believe it or not, me and Rukang used to be in the same team as well in
Oh,
NBA.
what
Rukang used
team
to be
was that?
NBA. Rukang
You,
was an NBA member.
Rukang was in NBA.
He was an original NBA member, man.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I see. I'm learning things here that I had no idea about.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But that's how we
crazy.
became good friends from it. And then I remembered when we ran Warriors Return 2, he decided to stay over at my place because he had nowhere to stay. So like I'm like, oh, you might as well stay at mine. And then I was bringing out all these NBA shirts, you know what I mean, for the staff members. And he goes, oh, who are those shirts for? And I'm like, oh, they're for my staff members. He was like, oh, I want to wear one. And I'm like, well, Rukang, you're from London. He goes, yeah, but I want to represent NBA. Let's do it, man. And I'm like, what? You really, really want to represent a Manchester team? Are you sure about this? He goes, yeah, because you're my boy. I want to rep I want to rep you. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not saying no to that. Here's an NBA shirt. You know what I mean?
Oh, Rukang is such a legend. I remember, I think it was either my very first or my second ever tournament. It was at
Yeah.
arcade club
Mm.
in Bury, and I remember Rukang came down with it. I think you brought him down actually because you
Yeah.
two have got a little bit of a bromance going on.
Oh, yeah. We do. We
But
do.
I remember I was walking in and I've seen, like, you have to realize that I was watching Rukang from like Tekken 6 and on YouTube and stuff, and I've known about him for a long time. So seeing this guy in the flesh, it was like, wow, that's Rukang. Do you know what I mean? It was, for me, it was like a big deal because it was like I don't know. I had a lot of respect for the guy, and then so I was a bit starstruck, and then he's come over to me and he's shaking me hand. Oh, you're all right. Oh, that's Lucksey. Shen's told me about you. And I was like, Jesus, what are you talking to me? Rukang's talking to me. What's going on here? But he's Rukang is a really, really nice guy.
Nah, he's a top bloke. He's a top
he's a,
bloke.
you I don't know if you had or you still have is it Shenkang, like a clothing brand that you had with him?
We did, yeah. But we haven't really taken off with that, to be honest with you. Like, we did get a lot of engagement on the shirts and stuff like that. But
Yeah, because those shirts were so slick. They was really, really nice shirts.
yeah,
If I
Rukan
do
got
say
like
so myself.
so much engagement on his Instagram. And we were supposed to be wearing them at Dammer Germany, but the printer folded. The company that does all the t-shirts are folded. So I was like,
Ah,
oh, so I need to find another supplier of some sort. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And then hopefully we'll pick off the project again. But at the moment, we're both quite busy. I've got a lot of personal shit going on outside of gaming as well to deal with. But other than that, I think we'll pick it off. We'll pick it up again.
So whilst you was, I mean, back when he was organizing tournaments, and it was back in the Tekken Tag 2 days or
Yeah.
Tekken 6 days. I'm just curious because I know that you've come from an Asian like you've got an Asian family, an Asian background, and
Yeah.
I'm to be fair, I'm quite ignorant towards it all. I don't
Mhm.
really know how it's perceived from an Asian family, like this kind of gaming, like wanting
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
gaming and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
what was the reaction from your family, like when you started doing
Uh,
this?
I'll be totally honest with you. I mean, I have no issues being open about this, but my mum and dad did not quite understand it.
Yeah,
They didn't quite understand what it is because I think what they were concerned about is, am I spending money or am I gambling in some form of way? Am I spending money that is, um, am I throwing money away at a useless hobby? I think that's what they're concerned about, and I think they were really concerned whether it's going to have an impact in my career and my job. And it didn't. It actually improved my career and my job, to be honest with you, because running tournaments have actually improved my managerial skills, it improved my social skills, and it allowed me to also talk to sponsors as well, which I never thought I was able to do. And for me to be able to speak to creators of the games, it's like an honor that I never thought would ever be possible
mm,
unless I was a TO. Explaining that to me mum and dad was very, very difficult, until they saw photos and videos of the events that I was running. Then that's when they started to get a bigger understanding of what it was about. Because to me, it wasn't about making money. It wasn't about um, like pulling in or monetizing off the community. For me, it was about making sure that people have a platform to play Tekken.
yeah,
That was the main thing for me, and I was never really about trying to, you know, just trying to earn pennies of people or whatever you call it. It's all for me. It's just it's all about getting a community together and helping people level up, giving the North um, a platform to get better at the game, and I really wanted to create a community that can stand up to London, because London is literally winning everything,
yeah,
and I wanted to create a bunch of players. I wanted to try and find undiscovered talent in order to compete with the likes of London, Scotland, Birmingham, because Manchester was seen as like not very strong in the fighting game community, but now I would say that we're pretty much up there now.
There's
Thanks.
there's London's the top, obviously. Then I'd say probably second is Bradford.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would say as a scene, and then once you get past them two, it kind of becomes muddled. But Manchester's definitely up there. I'd say
Scotland as
that's
well. Scotland
Scot
are really strong.
Scotland, yeah, with the
Yeah,
guys from 200K and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but I'll go out on a limb and say that the fact that Manchester is still up there is got a lot to do with your efforts throughout the dark days. Yours, and not just yours on your own. Obviously, there was people
yeah.
that that did it with you, as you were saying before.
Mhm.
But I mean, if you wasn't doing that, then who knows what the Manchester Tekken scene would be now. There might not even be a Manchester Tekken scene if you wasn't there keeping it going when times were tough.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but do you think that that is like your family not right kind of understanding? Do you think that's just a you thing, or do you think that's general with like Asian families?
I
I'm
think.
just looking to kind of get informed a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a lack of understanding, I would say. It might not just be Asian families, to be honest with you, but I
Just
think a
families in
lot of
general, yeah.
I think families in general with gaming, that people do perceive gaming to be a waste of time or for nerds or whatever you call it. That people are going to have social issues because they just play games. But I think Ninja did an interview with is it Jim Fallon not so long ago. But like
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon,
gamers, yeah, yeah, gamers are actually more social than um, than they're anticipated to be, because they are talking to people online from across the world. They're talking to many different types of people. You have platforms like Discord, like we are doing now. You have like the PSN parties and stuff like that, Xbox parties, and it's an opportunity for people to be social but in a different way.
yeah,
um and but not only that, I would say, like, Asians, the they're very much like quite against gambling. if you know what I mean. That like, even though like there are a lot of Asians that gamble, but my family don't want me to waste money on the hobby that they feel or they perceive as a waste of time.
Yes,
Do you know what I mean?
I do get what you mean. Yeah, so it, they think it's wasting money, but you don't think you're not wasting it if you're losing it, but not wasting it. Is that the kind of
Yeah,
thing? Am I in the right ballpark or?
yeah, I would say so. Like myself and Ying, we had to when we ran our second event, Warriors Return 2. The venue had no chairs, no tables whatsoever, no cables, nothing. We had to buy everything from
Yeah,
chairs, tables, extension cables. We had to try and source monitors, source PlayStations and stuff like that. Oh man, it cost a lot of money. You know what I mean, to run
no, I can
events.
imagine. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I've never run a tournament myself, obviously, but especially back then, I can't imagine what it was like. But it was a passion of yours. You did it. It was a labor of love, kind of
yeah,
thing.
definitely.
It was necessary. You had to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, who knows? I might not even be here. In fact, that's a funny thing as well. When I was just over a year now, I've been like a part of the community. The very first person that I ever messaged was you.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
no, it was a Facebook message. I was like trying to find. I was playing Tekken, but just not seriously.
Right.
But I was trying to find communities, and you was a kind of the main guy that I'd through my research had found. So that was you was the very first person I messaged. And you was like, "Oh yeah, come down to a tournament. We'd love to have you," and all this kind of stuff. And so yeah, I mean, you were responsible for me, kind of in a way.
That's good to hear. Well,
So,
I always believe that people start somewhere. And I said this in a status on Twitter, like, this is something I really firmly believe in, that, you know, everyone starts from somewhere, no matter how big you are, whether you're sponsored, whether you're not sponsored, whether you're affiliated or whatever, or even if you're like have a massive Twitch following, it doesn't matter, because I see everyone as an equal. I'm not going to treat anyone that is sponsored like royalty either. Like even a new player that doesn't have a clue about the game. I'm not going to treat you any differently. I welcome everyone with open arms.
yeah,
In the Manchester community, I was in that position myself. So why would I want to make myself seem elitist
yeah,
to
we've all been there, haven't
newcomers? We've all been there. Everyone's been there. Like, even when you start, it's almost like starting a new workplace, right? You're not going to make them feel unwelcome. You know what I mean? In order to really understand their value, you have to get to know them a bit more, and which is why I like to get to know the players. Not just play against them. I actually want to socialize with them and sort of understand why they want to come to these events. What do they want to get out of it and stuff like that. I want to
yeah.
get a
You
deep
want to.
understanding.
I mean, that's the same thing that with this podcast is for. You want to get to know
Yeah,
the person behind the
yeah,
player.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Kind of on the same vein of that. Again, if you don't feel comfortable talking about anything, that's perfectly fine. But
Yeah.
I'm aware that this year's been quite a difficult year for you. Is that fair to say, kind of thing that you've been?
Yeah, it's definitely been a very challenging year. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, would you like to talk about that or?
Uh, I think it's fair to say no. It's fine. It's fine. It's not something I wanted to post completely. But if people listening to this podcast, then they've done well to stay as long as they could. But yeah, at the moment I'm going through some personal issues in terms of like my mental health, and also I'm going through a divorce with my wife,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
right.
Um, but I personally, in order for me to play the game well, I have to be mentally prepared, and this is partly why I left Rise, because I wasn't mentally um, ready to compete on a competitive level. I wasn't ready to compete on a sponsored level, if you like. I
No,
didn't
it's
feel. I
perfectly
didn't
understandable. Yeah,
I couldn't devote the time that I wanted to, because I had bigger priorities. I wanted to make sure that you know the things that I'm going through is takes priority, especially my mental health as well. which is something that I struggled with. Like going through something as big as a divorce, obviously will have a massive impact
Oh,
on
absolutely, yeah.
on your life. It's not just in my performance in gaming, but on your life as well. And
Yeah, it
but
goes beyond gaming. It
yeah,
goes
yeah,
beyond that
exactly.
kind of
Because
stuff.
it's not only impacting me, it's impacting my family, my friends, and most importantly, it's impacting my general well-being as well. But it's not to say that me and my wife, my ex-wife, if you like, we just decided to go different paths. And it's just unfortunately it just didn't work out. And at the end of the day, we both agreed that we're just going to try and part ways in the best way possible. I always have love and appreciation for my ex-wife and her family, and we're just trying to make this as amicable as possible. So it took us quite a while to get to that, but we're at that stage now, and I can fully say that I'm ready to move forward with my life, and I'm ready to
That's
start living life more positively. But yeah, I mean, through that period, I actually had to go through therapy as well, which is something that I'm not really spoke about a lot to a lot of people, because I do feel that mental well-being is so important. It's
I mean,
um,
the fact that you're being so open and being so frank about it, I think is extremely like admirable. There could be, I mean, even if there's one person listening to this that's going through mental issues themselves, hearing you speak so openly and honestly about your own
mhm.
issues, and I think it's definitely, if it helps one person, then that's job done kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
How did you, if you don't mind me asking again, how did you, what kept you kind of upbeat or going through it? I mean, you just said you attended therapy. Is there anything
Mhm.
else that you did to keep your spirits up, kind of thing? Or
Yeah, I mean, I took up boxing as well because I felt that goes hand in hand with Tekken. I as much as
so,
I
so
tried to be
if you
honest
lose
with
the
you.
game, that you can just beat
Yeah.
up your opponent, yeah.
It's not that. It's basically I tried to give up Tekken, believe it or not, because I thought it might have impact. I thought it was something that's impacted my mental health as well, but it isn't, because Tekken is something that I love. It's a big part of me. It's a big part of my life,
Yeah,
and it's something I couldn't give up easily. But at the same time, I wanted to make sure that I was physically fit as well. And I felt boxing and Tekken, they go hand in hand together, because like I actually can see and I'm actually aware what I'm doing on screen, but I want to make sure that I can bring that awareness in real life as well. Like if I'm watching who I'm boxing, who I'm in front of, like I can tell what buttons I want to press. I can tell, I can understand a strategy and a mind game in Tekken, but also I want to apply that to my actual physical body. If I know what I want to do, can I start applying that? Can I move at the same time I want to? My thought processes.
yeah. So you want to
Yeah.
whiff punish in real life as well as whiff
Yeah,
punishing.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So I felt it was a great thing. It actually helped me with my confidence. It helped me with my awareness, and it actually brought those skills into Tekken as well. It made me a lot more aware in Tekken, and I didn't realize this until I started playing them a lot more. I've become a lot more patient, um, and I was able to self-evaluate a bit better as well, because in boxing you have to self-evaluate a lot. Like when you're throwing a right hook and stuff, are you actually moving your body? Are you on your toes and stuff like that? And then I'm able to apply that sort of mentality into Tekken. So every time I play an opponent, I don't get salty anymore.
reflective.
I've become more reflective. I'm like, okay, he abused something that I'm weak at. That's not his fault. That's my fault, and that's
Yeah,
something I've got to work on. That's something I've got to take away. When I was playing Icarus, he knew for a fact that I had trouble breaking the tackle with Marduk, and I wasn't reacting to the punches that he was applying. But for me, that's for me to take away and to think back and like, okay, I need to practice that now, rather than be like, oh, you skanked me, you only won with tackle. Do you
yeah.
know what I mean? That
No,
was my
it's a very healthy mindset to have.
yeah. I mean,
you
I
can't.
could easily just say, "Oh, you won with tackle." You know, what I mean, I can say that word to, but that's not the right mentality. You know, like he saw a weakness, and he used it in the right way. He outplayed me. As simple as that.
100%,
And
yeah.
and that's something I have to take away and say, okay, he used this on me. I need to go away in practice mode and actually learn how to break this and learn how to counter this. Like if I just blame him for using a gimmick, then that doesn't help anyone. That discredits him as a player, and that discredits me as well. Like, you know, oh, I could have done better. That's just being deluded, which I don't think is the right mindset. You know, which is why I think having an improvement mindset will help you get better at the game, but not only at the game, but also in anything that you do, in any hobby that you do, even in life as well.
Mm.
So,
I feel
which
like, sorry, go on.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think therapy and boxing really helps with that, and it just helped me just to become better as a player. Mental wise, it actually helps me become better as a player.
Yeah, the first step to a healthy mind is a healthy
Yeah,
body.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think just keeping on the subject of boxing kind of it goes hand in hand with fighting games weirdly,
It does.
and I'll try and explain myself. There's when you're watching a boxing match, there's momentum shifts
Yeah.
similar to the momentum shifts that you get when you're watching a Tekken match. There's whiff punishes, there's
Hmm.
side step left, side step right. There's
Yeah.
if you want to, there's plus frames, meaning like you applying the pressure. A lot
Yeah.
of things carry over from different from the fighting games and actual real life fighting. You know, like if you're watching a boxing match and you see the an opponent throws a left hook,
Hmm.
you sway backwards and then come back with a right over the top.
Yeah.
You know, you can do that in Tekken with Steve. That's the exact same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a lot of they lend each other. They lend a lot. I can't explain myself properly, but the yeah, there's a lot of like corresponding kind of things. If I could find the words properly, I would, but I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
A lot of
You know,
similarities. That's what I meant. A lot of similarities.
yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of Steve's moves are actually real moves that are used in actual boxing as well. So,
Yeah,
which is
like
why I think,
peekaboo.
yeah, I mean, I tried to learn Steve, believe it or not, but I don't have the execution for it just yet.
Oh, not anymore. Anyway, season 3, Steve, with all
Yeah.
these jank combos now. Jeez.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Is it that easy now? So
No,
I
no,
might have to
it's
give him a
it's
try.
harder. It's
Oh, is
harder
it?
now. Season 3,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
he's not very good in season 3. I've heard Steve.
Right.
That's just what I've heard on the grapevine. I've never touched the
Oh,
character, so
okay. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
no. But I mean, like, thank you very much for being like so open and honest and
Oh, no
touch,
problem.
touching on the same kind of thing.
Mm.
I mean, Tekken is like boxing for you is what Tekken is to me. I've no problem in saying that I have dealt with depression and stuff. I
Hmm.
have dealt with mental health issues, and actually, Tekken has helped me so much with that. Like
Yeah.
going
Can I
out.
add to that as well?
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
um, you know, I want people to know that if you are going through mental health issues, please don't be afraid to reach out. You know, just because you're going through some emotions and stuff like that does not mean you're weak. You're just human. It's a human thing. You know what I mean? Like even the most successful people, even you know, famous celebrities, they all go through similar things. But obviously they're just not open about it. But you know, there's no shame in reaching out, and you know, there's no shame in talking about it. And I think like I kept quiet for so long. You know, I felt this sense of relief to talk about it openly now to
Yeah, yeah,
everyone. You know, and I always try to stay upbeat as possible, try and stay positive, but please don't feel like you can't reach out. There are people that you can talk to.
yeah. A lot of the time, the hardest part about it is taking that first step and
Exactly.
realizing that you need to ask for help. But once you get
Yeah.
past that, it's then you're on the right track, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, like I was saying before, just being a part of the scene, meeting new people, going to tournaments. The
Yeah.
the people that you meet at tournaments are just the best people that you will ever meet. I mean,
Um,
just like over the weekend in Liverpool, just that I think apart from Manchester, obviously, but
mhm.
I think I love that scene so much. Liverpool, everyone there is just so real and so nice and welcoming. I mean, just that kind of environment that you put yourself in, it will do wonders for you getting
Yeah.
out there and actually
Yeah.
participating and stuff.
I mean, I'm glad that you're part of the community. You know, like when you first came into the Manchester scene, and you came second in Iron King one, you cemented yourself as a really strong King player. You know,
Yeah,
so
I remember that well.
and I remember you didn't really know anyone, but like I was glad that I was able to make a new friend out of it. You know what I mean? And then it
No, yeah,
helped me.
definitely.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of the FGC is like you don't. It's not always just about getting better at the game, but it's also the community aspect of it. And I think that's really, really important that people need to remember that, it's a great way to make new friends. It's a great way to sort of, you know, um, gain a new hobby and also like get to know people as well. So,
But at the same time, if I come up against you in tournament, don't get it twisted. I'm going to try my very best to fuck you up. You
of
know?
course, mate.
So
Yeah, yeah. Let's
I
do it,
mean,
man.
like
It's
we
all
can be all
business.
exactly. We can be friendly beforehand and afterwards.
Yeah,
But if
yeah,
we're in
yeah,
tournament, oh, I'm going to cheese you. I remember that exact tournament that you're talking about is in the Trafford Centre.
yeah,
I remember playing against Icarus, Ryan,
yeah, yeah.
and everyone was silent, and it was me against him. And then the silence was broken. I got him in the King's Bridge,
Oh yeah, yeah. I
and the
remember.
silence had broken. He just turned around and said, "Who the fuck does King's Bridge?" I was like, "All
I
right, I've got him."
remember. And then
I was like,
yeah, yeah. Oh my god, you got him tilted. Yeah.
"Oh, that was when I knew that I had the game because I just anyway. I don't. It was good that though. That was
It
back
was
in
good. Yeah. Yeah.
Trafford Centre in the game, wasn't it? When that was a thing
Yeah,
back in the long
definitely.
days.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely have
um,
to give a shout out to all the NBA staff that are still keeping NBA going as well. Like I've stepped down as a chairman, like probably 2-3 years ago, but I have to give credits to all the NBA guys that are still running it and still taking the time off their daily lives to run events because people don't realize how much effort it is to run an event. It
oh
takes a
yeah,
lot of time. So I got to give shout outs to the NBA guys and also the arcade club for giving us a place for us to play games as well.
such a
So
sick space. It's such a sick venue as well.
yeah,
Arcade
yeah,
Club.
yeah.
It
I
really
mean,
is.
I can't leave the podcast without giving them credit. You know
Oh,
what
of
I mean?
course. Who,
So
who is so? Who is it? Who is running NBA these days? Like,
I think I think it would be Scott or Liam. I think it could be either of them
I
two.
think
I
Liam
knew
is. Yeah,
Ryan ran it for a good year. He ran the Warriors Reborn major, which was really good,
that was a
by the
good.
way.
Yeah.
I hope they do another one. I think they're on the works doing another one, but I can't say anything. I don't really know too much, but
Hmm.
hopefully, I'm fingers crossed that they'll run another one soon.
So have you not got the bug to get back into tournament organising, or is that
Uh,
just are you just going to leave
no,
that
I
for now?
really wanted to concentrate on playing,
Yeah.
because I think being a tournament organizer and being a good player at the same time is really, really difficult.
Mm.
I found it very difficult. I felt if I favored one more than one the other, I felt that I'm not going to do a good job of either. Do you get what I mean? Because I'm
Yeah.
spreading myself too thinly. You're either going to be a really good TO and absolutely nail it and, host the best event, or you either put yourself in the best situation by practicing in the game and get yourself the best result. It's either one of them two. Like when I tried to do both, I did bad at both. Do you get what I mean? I
Yeah,
like
I get. Yeah, 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 yeah.
like there are things I forgot at the event, but because I was too busy practicing something, but I spent too much time practicing, um, and then I spent too much time doing some admin work, and then my performance completely dipped. Do you get what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
So I couldn't do both, and because I ran events for such a long time with Ying, I thought to myself, I really want to concentrate on, I really want to try my hands on being a player, and see how far I can get as if I fully just focused on getting better at the game rather than focusing on doing all the admin work, as a tournament organizer, and yeah, and that's how it came about. Really, and since I started concentrating on being a player, I felt my consistency has gone a lot better. Um,
I would
you
agree
know,
with that.
yeah,
Yeah, I would agree with that. You're consistently placing well in tournaments. I remember when I first kind of came on the scene,
yeah.
it was me and you kind of had like a semi rivalry kind of thing.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it,
definitely.
it
Yeah,
could go
yeah,
either way.
yeah,
But I think recently, I think you've kind of gone to another level. Like kind of left me behind a tiny bit. So
I wouldn't say that.
yeah, well, I've got my work cut out. I'll not be for long. I'll be back there, but no,
Yeah,
I think definitely recently that you've been consistent is the perfect word. You've been very consistent with your placings, and you're only getting better. I mean, it's definitely showing it. You can see it's reflected in your gameplay that you're in a better place now, and that you know you've got. I'm not saying where you work, but you've got a very good job. You've
yeah,
I mean, you're in a good place. It's reflected in your play where you're playing confidently. You seem confident. You're boxing, that
yeah.
kind of stuff. So it's very good to see.
Oh, cheers, cheers, thank you. Yeah, I do believe like happiness and being okay with yourself will actually help you with your performance. And
Mm,
I mean, it's all well and good if you know all your frames and know every character and stuff like that. But in tournament, you got to learn to deal with what's outside of the game as well. You got to deal with an audience. You got to deal with different settings. On the PlayStation, or the monitor could be laggy compared to the one that you have at home.
yeah.
You got to go on stream. You got to deal with the Twitch chat. You got to deal with people watching you. You got to deal with all sorts of. Oh, and not only that, you got to deal with your nerves as well.
Oh yeah.
Um, you got to deal with the pressure and stuff like that. There's a lot in Tekken. I think there's a lot in fighting games in general. It's not just about knowing the game. It's about dealing what's outside of it as well. If you know how to
100%.
deal with what if you're letting the outside things affect your gameplay, then that's going to affect your result as well. Because like if you're too nervous, obviously it's going to affect your execution. If your mindset's not right, it's not right either. Like, oh, I'm not feeling it. Then that's going to show in your gameplay as well. Like, if
Yeah.
no matter who I'm sat next to, whether it be Rukang, Ryan Hart, or any other amazing UK player, I'm just going to play to the best of my ability because I know that I'm a good player. And if they beat me, it's not because I'm shit. It's because they are the better player. And that's the way I think every time I sit down next to a player. It's not because I'm shit or anything like that. It's because they outplayed me and I've got to learn from that. And I think if people adopt that kind of mindset, then they'll keep getting better. It's so easy to get salty. It's so easy to blame things like, oh, it's your nerves and stuff like that.
Mm.
But it's all part of the journey, really. There's a lot of things that you can work on in
I
order
think
to be a
that's
better player.
yeah, I think that's an extremely healthy mindset to have. So I mean, just before I let you go, mate, what's next? What's next for Shen? What's coming up? Are we?
Uh,
So
I'm going. I'm going to Berlin Tekken Clash. That's like my next tournament abroad. Um, I would have loved to travel more. I would have loved to travel to Greece and stuff like that. But as a person that's sponsored by my own wallet, it's not always doable.
That's
um,
another point. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, mate, but
no, no problem,
that's
no
another
problem.
point that I was going to get on. I mean, you left Rise due to personal issues that you've now
Yeah,
overcome.
yeah.
Are you back on the market for a sponsor?
I personally, I think I play better when I don't have that sponsor pressure. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
I come to an event to have fun and to see people and to play the best of my ability. That's it. And it doesn't matter whether I'm spending money to do that. To me, that is what I'm spending money for. I'm spending money for the experience. Um, people may want to play to win money, but I'm not about that. I'm just there to really have fun, really be part of the community, and just play the game. Um, and when I was sponsored, I mean, I was flattered. It was brilliant. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to Rise. They really made me feel welcome as part of the
yeah.
team.
Shout out to Mike and
Yeah,
Mike, both
yeah,
the two Mikes.
yeah. Definitely shout outs to those guys. But for me, I didn't. It's no one's fault. It's not like Rise's fault. But I put that pressure on myself
Mm.
to think like, oh, if I don't perform well, then I'm letting the team down, and I really hated that feeling. But if I lost without being sponsored, then I'm only letting myself down, no one else. Do you get
Yeah,
what I mean?
no, I get what you
Um,
mean. Yeah,
which is why I decided not to be sponsored, and I want to be a credible player, and I don't think I need to be sponsored in order to to be credible. I can just be credible in my own right, in my own way, and that's how I personally believe to be as a player.
Right. So I mean, so next is Berlin Tekken Clash, and then
Yeah.
we're going to be seeing you at tournaments like more consistently, or is it just once every now and again?
I think locally, yes. Traveling abroad, obviously need a bit more money.
Don't we all?
And a few more holidays. But I think I'll be around locally.
When you
And
say
I'll try.
locally, do you mean just Manchester, or what about Liverpool?
Yeah, definitely Liverpool. I'll definitely be in London as well.
London, yeah.
Yeah, but like flying out, I need to save a little bit more. We'll have to see. I unfortunately I don't have a definite schedule like most players do. Like, oh, I just pick and choose which events I want to go to as and when I can, and that's it really. I don't really have a set schedule. Yeah.
Right. Well, on that note, listen, Shen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, and good luck with the rest of the podcast, my friend.
Thank you, mate. No,
it's been a pleasure talking to you.
No, it has. It's been really good. So, yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on and helping me out with this. So, thanks a lot for that, mate. So I'm not sure who's on next, but I'm not sure they can live up to you. So we'll see. Anyway.
Oh, cheers.
Anyway, thank you very much, mate.
Thank you much.